So let's talk about Ghana. They've made a really quite an audacious move recently in the gold industry.
Definitely audacious.
Sure.
It's essentially a signal to foreign gold traders that the old ways of doing business, direct buying from miners, are, well, coming to an end.
Exactly. They've put down a marker, haven't they? A deadline.
Yes, April 30th, 2025.
Yeah.
It's firm. After that date, foreign buyers either, well, they need to leave or adapt to a whole new state-controlled system.
A huge shift, especially given how long foreign companies have been involved in that sector.
A very long time. Decades, really.
And that's what we want to dig into today in this deep dive. Why now? What's really behind this decision? And, what could the ripple effects be for Ghana, obviously, but maybe for the whole region, too?
Right. We've been looking through the news reports, various analyses, trying to piece together the picture from this new policy announcement.
And you really can't understand the significance without looking back a bit, right?
Right.
The history of foreign players in Ghana's small-scale gold mining is pretty central here.
Absolutely essential context. It hasn't always been a straightforward or, frankly, equitable relationship.
Okay, so let's focus on that deadline first. April 30th, 2025. It sounds pretty non-negotiable.
It does. The message seems clear. No more direct purchases by foreign companies from the local small-scale miners after that point.
It's a clean break from how things have operated.
A very clean break.
Right.
And the government's statement suggests they're quite serious about enforcing this. They mean business.
And the why behind it, it feels like Ghana's trying to, reclaim control, maybe, over its own resources.
That's certainly how many observers are framing it, almost an act of defiance against what some describe as a history of, let's say, exploitation and regulatory gaps.
Yeah, the term Wild West comes up in some reports describing the old system. Lots of unregulated activity.
And that kind of environment, it opens the door for problems,
Yeah.
serious problems.
Like what specifically? What were the main issues being alleged?
Well, widespread reports of foreign traders just bypassing the rules. Smuggling gold out, accusations of bribery, dodging taxes. It seems quite systemic.
Right. And not small amounts either. There's an estimated figure floating around for the annual loss.
There is around $2.3 billion annually.
Yeah.
Lost to Ghana because of this illicit trade.
$2.3 billion. Wow.
Yeah, it's a huge sum.
And when you stop and think about what that kind of money could actually do, the sources mention schools, clinics, roads, especially in the mining areas themselves.
Exactly. Infrastructure that's desperately needed. That lost revenue has a very real human cost.
So Ghana isn't just pointing out the problem, they have a proposed solution, this thing called Goldbot.
Yes, Goldbot. That's the name for the new state-run, centralized gold buying authority they're setting up.
Okay, so state-run. Does that mean foreign traders are totally banned?
Not exactly banned from trading altogether, but they must go through Goldbot. It's like a single official channel.
Ah, okay. So the idea is transparency, making sure every transaction is logged, taxed.
Precisely. It's about accountability, making sure Ghana actually gets its share from its own gold.
Yeah.
Goldbot is meant to be the gatekeeper, basically, stopping the theft and the smuggling.
It really sounds like things reached a breaking point. You get the sense it wasn't just one thing, but a pattern.
Definitely a pattern. The reports mention things like unregistered foreign buyers setting up shop right inside protected forest reserves, gold shipments just vanishing, rampant smuggling. It paints a picture of, disrespect for the rules.
And the government, under President Mohammed, just decided enough was enough.
It seems that way. The calculation apparently was that the potential backlash from investors was less damaging than just letting the country continue to be weakened by this drain on its resources.
So the April 30th deadline, it's almost like drawing a line in the sand. Some are even calling it a kind of declaration of independence for their resources.
That's a powerful phrase, but it captures the sentiment, I think. It's a very assertive move.
But moves like this, they always carry risks, don't they? What are the potential downsides or challenges Ghana might face?
Oh, absolutely. There are definite risks. You're hearing about potential international backlash, diplomatic concerns being raised. Lobby groups are certainly making noise.
Legal action, maybe, from the companies affected.
That's a real possibility. And then there's the broader worry about investor confidence, not just in Ghana, but maybe across West Africa.
Well,
Will this make others hesitant to invest?
those are serious considerations. But on the flip side, the potential rewards are also huge.
Absolutely. First and foremost, potentially recovering that $2.3 billion a year. Imagine reinvesting that back into the country.
And what about the miners themselves, the small-scale, local Ghanaian miners? how does this affect them?
This could be, well, life-changing for many of them, if the system works as intended anyway.
Because they've often been on the losing end, right? Facing exploitation, getting paid way below market rates.
Exactly. So the hope is that Goldbot provides a fair, transparent price, a legal channel to sell their gold, maybe even state protection. It could make mining a more respected, stable profession.
That's a significant potential upside. And beyond the miners, could this help other local businesses?
That's another angle, yes. If foreign dominance in the buying is reduced, it might open up space for Ghanaian companies in, say, refining the gold locally.
Or exporting it themselves, maybe even making jewelry.
Potentially. Building more of that value chain within Ghana rather than just shipping out the raw material. That's a common goal for many resource-rich nations.
And you mentioned earlier this isn't happening in a vacuum. Ghana's move seems to fit into a bigger picture in Africa.
It really does. We're seeing similar trends elsewhere. Look at Burkina Faso trying to nationalize some gold assets, Mali renegotiating mining contracts, Niger looking closely at its uranium deals.
So it's a broader pushback against maybe older colonial-era ways of handling resources.
You could certainly interpret it that way. A continent-wide move towards greater resource sovereignty, wanting more control and benefit from their own natural wealth.
Could Ghana become a kind of test case then?
No.
A precedent?
Very possibly. If Ghana makes this work, if Goldbot proves effective and reasonably clean, other African nations watching might think, hey, maybe we can do something similar. Could be quite influential.
And the impact might not stop at Africa's borders, right? Ghana is a major gold producer. Could this ripple out into the global market?
It's possible. Any significant change in how a major producer operates could affect global dynamics, supply chains, maybe even pricing down the line. It introduces uncertainty, at least.
But it all hinges on making it work on the ground, doesn't it? Implementation is key.
Absolutely critical. The reports do raise warnings here. If Goldbot itself becomes corrupt or just hopelessly bureaucratic and inefficient,
And the whole thing could backfire.
it could undermine the entire effort. The potential is huge, but so are the challenges of actually executing it properly.
It really brings home that point about management, doesn't it? It's not just about having resources, it's about how you manage them.
Precisely. Ghana seems to be acknowledging that maybe Africa's challenges aren't always about a lack of resources, but sometimes about how those resources have been governed and exploited.
It feels like they're trying to, well, light a different path forward. Manage the gold for Ghana's benefit first and foremost.
A path towards empowerment, perhaps,
Yeah.
rather than continued exploitation.
So wrapping up this deep dive, the main takeaway is Ghana's making this incredibly bold move with Goldbot, centralizing the gold trade.
Aiming to cut out the illegal stuff, claw back billions in lost revenue, and give local miners and potentially local industries a fairer shot.
And as we've discussed, this isn't just about Ghana. It could be a really significant moment for resource management and sovereignty across Africa, potentially setting a precedent.
Which leaves us, and you listening, with something to think about. Given all these complexities, the history, the economics, the international pressures, what are the likely long-term consequences if Ghana succeeds? Or if it fails? And what does it mean for other nations sitting on vast resources who might be watching very, very closely?
Definitely a situation to keep an eye on. Its unfolding will tell us a lot.